This tree is a Douglas-fir. The scientific name for Douglas-fir is Pseudotsuga menziesii. It's another one of our massive northwest trees, and the most abundant. So, walking up to the needles here. The needles are about an inch or so in length. They're green above, though sometimes the new needles will have a bit of bloom. The undersurface of the needle has two bands of white stomatal bloom. So there's a difference in color from the top to the bottom. They tend to stick out in all directions from the twig. Okay, so all around, top, bottom, sides. What you can see here are the buds. The buds have imbricate scales. They're very sharply pointed, and they have an orange to red color. This is a fantastic characteristic for Douglas-fir. Once you see these buds, it's a really quick and easy way to identify the tree. They do have a raised leaf scar. It's sort of half raised, and each needle has a petiole, so it's constricted at the base where there's a little tiny stem attaching it to that raised leaf scar. Here we also have open pollen cones. And lately, so now it's early April, there's been so much Douglas-fir pollen flying around and coating cars, and it's all coming from these pollen cones that are held at the ends of the branches. The female cone starts out green, sort of cylindrical in shape. You can see size varies a bit, but a couple inches, give or take. They have rounded, somewhat papery scales, and then these three-pointed things sticking out between the scales. Those are called bracts, cone bracts. And you'll notice in Douglas-fir that they extend very far out between the scales, and they have 3 points to them. The center one is longest, so they look sort of like the back end of a little chipmunk, as if a chipmunk were diving in between the scales. Great characteristic, again, for Douglas-fir. Douglas-fir has a lot of very unique characteristics that make it easy to identify. Looking back in toward the bark. It's a dark brown color and deeply furrowed and fairly thick. It starts out when it's a young tree to have smooth bark, but it quickly becomes pretty thick, dark, and furrowed.